Hi there, I'm the Reverend Danny Crosby, a Unitarian minister serving congregations in Altrincham and in Urmston in the northwest of England. And I'm offering this devotion as a balm for the heart, for the mind, for the spirit, and for the soul. It is titled Turning Presents into Gifts. So we're now fully into the Advent season, the days that lead to Christmas Day. These are the days of waiting, the days of preparation. The music is playing. We can hear all the familiar songs, the familiar carols as they play. We hear them in the shops. And no doubt we have begun the process of selecting presents for our loved ones. I'm sure some people probably did it months ago. Have you done all your shopping yet? I've not even begun, to be honest. But I will soon. Just not yet. I've got far too much other stuff to do, actually. But I'll get round to it, don't worry. Have you experienced any bah humbug moments just yet? I think probably most people have at some point. I noticed one the other day from a friend of mine. She posted a meme on Facebook, a cartoon depicting two figures. The first is putting up Christmas decorations and saying to the other, "It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas." To which the other one responds in a far less enthusiastic way, "It's not Christmas though, is it, Barbara? Because it's still bleep November." Now, the meme was a protest against how soon Christmas has begun this year, especially in the shops, etc. I replied to the meme stating, "Just to be an annoying pedant, it's actually Advent, and Advent began on Sunday. If you want to be truly liturgically accurate, Christmas doesn't actually begin until sunset on Christmas Eve. But none of us want that, do we? So please, no more bah humbugging, please." It's how you lose friends, by the way, making posts like comments like that. Now, they followed many other complaints on the feed, actually, about the celebration of Christmas coming far too early. People putting up their decorations far too early, complaining about neighbours and things. I put mine up on Tuesday evening. And this year I've gone far much further than I usually do at Christmas. And Molly is certainly enjoying all these new Christmas decorations. And it seems that she loves above everything stealing baubles from the tree and playing with them around the house. I've had to move poor old Father Christmas and all his little helpers out of her reach. She looks up at them on the windowsill and barks at them because I know she wants to pull them down and play with them. Now, many folk have been telling me off for putting my tree up, etc., on Tuesday, telling me I wasn't allowed until Thursday, the 1st of December. To which I keep on replying that Advent had already begun. It began last Sunday. Isn't it funny how folk can suddenly become all puritanical about these things from time to time? We all have such moments. We all like to bah humbug, don't we, from time to time? And I get where it all comes from, especially as it's been Christmas in most of the shops since the beginning of November. Really, since the end of Halloween, it's all been about Christmas, hasn't it? There's been a Christmas tree in Cafe Nero for weeks. I know this because Molly stole a bauble from their tree several weeks ago, and it's been her favourite toy since. So I'm blaming them for her new obsession. Not really their fault. The bah humbugging about the early celebration of Christmas stems from this sense of the over commercialisation of the season and the thought that the spirit of the season is getting lost. It seems that for many, Christmas has become an almost secular exercise, which is probably true, really, because after all, half of the population in this country now, less than half, so of the population identify as Christian, at least according to the figures published in the census from last year. But is it true, though? Have we killed the spirit of the season with the over commercialisation? I'm not convinced. I think the spirit lives on and actually is present in the very act of such celebrations and even the buying and such commercial activities that the spirit is still there somehow in that. You don't have to believe in the factual accuracy of Christmas to believe in the Christmas spirit. It's somewhere, it can still be found in, there's religion in those ribbons and all that wrapping paper, as I heard someone once say. But if we look purely on the surface, there seems little evidence of what I think. The Christmas season appears to be mass consumerism gone mad, the worst excesses of which seem to form in that most hideous of American imports, Black Friday, which in reality is linked to the American holiday of Thanksgiving. We have taken the part on about the Black Friday, the commercial aspect, but not the Thanksgiving bit. And this, of course, occurred over the Advent weekend. And yet there is the spirit of Christmas in the spiritual elements, I would say, of Thanksgiving, this giving of thanks. And surely this is the Christmas spirit and can be extended into the Advent season and Christmas itself. Isn't this what we unwrap, what's given birth to on this day? The spirit of Christmas is surely about giving thanks for the gifts we have been given and expressing this thanks in our lives by using our gifts in this our shared world, by sharing our gifts with others. We can become gifts to this our world. We can live in and through gratitude. This is the heart of Christmas, surely. This gift born, this humble gift that turns into everything. And this can be exemplified in the presents that we buy for our loved ones, as these presents become gifts. They become gifts if they're chosen and wrapped with loving intention. And then surely even this commercial activity becomes spiritual in nature. I love the way that David Blanchard in his lovely piece The Gift distinguishes between a gift and a present. How the gift has a far more deeply spiritual and heartfelt significance than merely a present. It touched a part of me, this piece, deep in the heart of me. So deep. Now, of course, the word present is something the spiritually inclined are obsessed with in our current age. So many talk of the gift of the present moment, that this is where life is. And I'm certainly not one to wish to argue with these thoughts, because of course it's true. That said, I wonder if sometimes we become so obsessed with the present that we forget about the gifts we carry with us that have been given in those many moments during the past of our lives. Too often we wish to lose what has gone before in our intense focus on the present, that we fail to embrace the gifts, these beautiful gifts that have come throughout our lives. I have come to believe that to truly embrace the moment, to be truly present, requires me to be fully engaged with every moment of my life. For there the true gifts of life emerge. Isn't that what happened to Mr. Scrooge? He lived in the past, the present, and the future. When he saw those three ghosts come together, it transformed his life. He had his spiritual awakening, and he vowed to keep Christmas every day and live in the past, the present, and the future. Isn't that what truly living spiritually alive means? Perhaps to truly live in the present moment is to bring our whole selves, every breath of our lives, and perhaps every life that has made our life into this sublime moment, and to then create something for the future that is born on Christmas morning, if you like. Isn't that the spirit of the season? This year I have reflected much on my life, perhaps more than I have for quite a while. I have thought much about the gifts I've been given throughout my days, gifts I have not always appreciated at the time. In fact, many I have failed to notice when they were given. The gifts of the love given by the precious people I have shared my life with, some who are no longer physically with me. The things they took the time to show me, how to do things and just how to be, the times they made me laugh and the times they made me cry, the joy that they brought to my being, gifts given freely from their heart to my heart to heart, the spirit of Christmas. I've also been thinking of the many gifts I was simply born with, that I've not always made best use of, the true graces of life. I've been contemplating how I can make better use of these ultimate of free gifts, not just for myself, but for the good of all. Here's a little extract from a prayer I shared during the Advent service last Sunday. Now is the moment of magic, and here's a blessing. We already possess all the gifts we need. We've already received our presents: ears to hear music, eyes to behold lights, hands to build true peace on earth, and to hold each other tight in love. How do we make good use of the gifts we have been given from the beginning of our lives and throughout our lives? How do we bring these gifts to life in this beautiful present that is right here, right now? How do we make best use of the gift of life itself, the ultimate free gift? Life is the greatest gift of all, so treasure it and measure it. Deeds of golden worth. I'll leave that one with you to ponder. So, for most of us, Christmas is about the giving and the receiving of presents, but not necessarily about the gifts that we both give and receive, the gifts of our lives, really. And it's interesting, I suspect the tradition of giving and receiving of gifts at Christmas time is linked to the three gifts of the Magi of gold, of frankincense, and of myrrh, whatever myrrh is. Gifts of great value actually 2,000 years ago, although gold really is the only one that's retained its great worth today. Now, in early Christianity, the journey of the Magi was celebrated on the feast of the Epiphany, which is on the 6th of January, the 12th day of Christmas. Hence the carol, "On the first day of Christmas, my true love gave to me a partridge in a pear tree," and going on and on and on. In fact, in the Eastern Orthodox, that's when Christmas is celebrated, actually, the Feast of the Magi. The early Christian church did not celebrate Christmas as we do today, not in the same way. The tradition of giving presents is really a modern tradition, actually. By Victorian times, the culture of gift giving and the mythos of Father Christmas, St. Nicholas, or Santa Claus, depending on where you're from, was really taking hold. And most of Christmas, as we see it today, really is as much to do with Charles Dickens as anybody else and his wonderful writing. As the 20th century moved on into the 21st century, this culture, of course, has developed into mass consumerism. Today, it would seem that buying, wrapping, and giving gifts has become nothing more than a mechanical chore and one of the worst examples of mass consumerism going. Is this really what Christmas is about? Is this really giving by heart? Is this really the spirit of Christmas? Well, it is if we select, give, and receive these gifts in the spirit of love. In so doing, you see, we bring the spirit of the season of life by incarnating the words from my favourite carol, "In the Bleak Midwinter." And this line, "What shall I give him? Give my heart." I believe that the true spirit of Christmas is the heart, that this is the gift of the season. Christmas is above everything else, truly is the season of the heart. When we truly give our gifts to others, we are giving them our hearts, and we truly give from our hearts to another. When we do this, we're somehow bringing that heart of God alive, and the Spirit is once again incarnating in life. It's the image of that baby born in a humble stable, the ultimate gift of life, the child. You see, there is religion in those ribbons and in that wrapping paper. The spirit is still alive in them if they're done from the heart. This is the spirit that once again can come alive if we engage in the giving and receiving of gifts and not just presents. Make them gifts, gifts of love. This is one way in which we can truly begin to become a gift of this our world, when we give our hearts truly in love. When I really think of the gifts I have been given, the greatest is, of course, this life itself. This birth, when I was born, I did nothing to deserve it. And how many free meals have I received throughout my life? How many free gifts have I been given? The ultimate grace is life, but how many other gifts have I been given from other people's hearts? It's the ultimate free gift, the ultimate unearned grace. It's easy, to say we're grateful for the gifts we've been given, whether at Christmas or throughout the year, whether these are material or spiritual in nature. But I'm not so sure that it's what gratitude actually is, just saying you're grateful, saying you're thankful. Gratitude is an active thing. It's more than just giving thanks and thanksgiving. It's doing something with the gifts we have been given. And maybe this is something to reflect on over the coming weeks as we approach Christmas. To consider the gifts we have been granted and to perhaps think of the gifts we would like. To remember, but not passively remember. Let's instead make our lives acts of remembrance of all we have been all that's been freely given to us, all that's been gifted to us, all those graces of life. Let's make from these gifts a true act of gratitude for all that is our lives. Let's become a part of the gift that is life itself and express this gift in our humble human being. Let's become the gift. Let's become gifts to the world and pour out these gifts on one another and to all of life. And let's do so in all that we feel, in all that we think, in all that we say, and in all that we do. Amen. I'm going to close this devotion, as I always like to, with some final words of blessing. We all need to bless more, and we can all bless. And we bless when we give our whole hearts to life. So here's a blessing. May we know the blessings of this season. May we know the gifts of life. May we bring these gifts alive through our very being by simply blessing each moment with our loving presence. And may we carry this spirit of this loving season with us. May we bring to life the religion wrapped up with those Christmas ribbons. And may we do so in all that we feel, in all that we think, in all that we say, and in all that we do. Amen.